I am joined by Kevin Beckford, the co-founder of the Hustlers Guild, right? I have that right?
You got it in.
So how are you enjoying the conference so far?
I'm enjoying the conference so much. It's been incredibly fruitful. It's always a pleasure also to see old friends and to make new friends. Have a good time. Yeah.
So tell me about this Hustlers Guild and about some of the work that you do.
Yeah, sure. So co-founded the Hustlers Guild 8 years ago with two co-founders. Three of us were working at the White House under the Obama administration.
Okay.
And we were kind of like the hip hop heads. Moved a little differently, unapologetically black. We were also all educators, former educators. And so when we were leaving the White House, we were like, how do we leverage the Rolodex that we had, acquired during our time, our tenure at the White House, and how do we do something in education? And so that's how the Hustlers Guild came to be. So we use hip hop to actualize learning and workforce development opportunities for Black and Brown youth. We started out as an after-school program at a couple schools in DC, and that's since grown into a national effort that serves over 7,000 students across the country.
Now, forgive me, I'm going to ask you that question again.
Go right ahead.
Because nobody was expecting this to happen. So, sorry again for those of you out there listening, but we're going to ask that question one more time because we just had a very loud announcement come over, and I want to make sure that you all can hear what Mr. Beckford had to say. So again, please just tell us a little bit about, your work, the Hustlers Guild, your experience with the Obama administration.
Absolutely. So the Hustlers Guild, we co-founded 8 years ago with two of my co-founders coming out of the Obama White House. So the three of us had worked different departments under President Obama at the White House. We were kind of moved differently. We were hip hop heads. We were unapologetically black. We were policy nerds, but still committed to culture. And all three of us were also former educators. And so when we were leaving the White House, we were like, how do we leverage like our Rolodex, our growing Rolodex, and access to opportunities and resources to do something for young people, right? And so we had a session, like a brainstorm session, and the idea to infuse hip hop into such an effort came to be. And so we started the Hustlers Guild. And that initially started as an after-school program at a couple of schools in DC. But since growing into a national program that serves 7,000 students annually, we use hip hop to actualize, again, learning opportunities, learning and workforce development opportunities. So we partner with record labels, entertainment companies. We work with the likes of Sony Music, Rock Nation, Snoop Dogg, Dream Chasers, Just Hilarious, Anthony Anderson, various people of culture, right, to bring attention and awareness to learning, the importance of learning, the importance of social emotional learning, and then again, workforce development. And
So you all are like really out there. You guys have a wide network. I mean, I think that's really amazing. And the fact that this really sounds like, it's investing in our children, right? Investing in that child development and really like getting them into, like the arts and culture and things like that, and just exploring what might pique their interest.
Exactly, right. And I think a critical time that speaks to that point was COVID. When the pandemic hit, right? We were all in confusion, but young people were especially, right? We had like D-Nice catering to adults, and we're like, we get these lives and it's dope, and we're like, okay, like we have our roundabout, but young people were not necessarily thought of. And so what we did with the Hustlers Guild, we started a virtual programming that like where we would have conversations. It grew into a program called Hustler Talks. And so basically, that's how we linked with Snoop. That's how we linked with a ton of people in culture, where we said, hey, would you be willing to lead these online workshops, these online engagement opportunities with young people? And we engaged thousands and thousands of young people through that program. And the idea was, and it's still ongoing, but the idea behind that was, again, to provide a space in a time of special need for youth.
Okay. So is that something that's still going on, even though I know we're hopefully one day we'll be out of this pandemic completely. We know COVID is still a thing, but is that something, the virtual part of it, something that's still going on?
It sure is, yeah. So we have a mix of different initiatives and programs. Some are in person, some are virtual, and some are hybrid. But the one thing that came to be clear with our program, one, is young people need to be engaged. And so our engagement and the power of engagement. So our engagement meant in terms of school attendance, in terms of not getting into trouble, through the roof. And so we continue our virtual and in-person programming in partnerships with school districts. So yeah, no, and things have changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're never going to be back to like fully in person, especially when we see the efficiencies and the advantages of having some things online.
Yeah, and being able to have sort of like a hybrid situation.
Yeah. But we still do an in-person programming. One of our biggest programs, it's been featured on CBS, NBC, lauded in documentaries even. It's called Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras. And so we started this program during the pandemic as well, in partnership with the likes of Matt Barnes, former NBA player, Baron Davis, also an NBA player, and Cat Williams, and Martin Red Grant, amongst other folk in the city. An idea it was to provide tech training and filmmaking training for young people in DC, in Los Angeles, in New York. The kids get a camera, they learn the ins and outs of filmmaking. We have college students teach the young people how to use the camera, how to film, and they create a story. And they showcase that story. And then after the camp is done, it's a 2-week summer camp. After that camp, we provide them the opportunity to basically highlight and showcase their film, and also to do workshops and get enrichment in the film space. And so that's an in-person program that's been very impactful. We've partnered with DC on a number of occasions to kind of situate it as a violence intervention program.
I think that's so timely, and also the fact that, you know, I'm a journalist, but I wish I would have had something like that when I was younger, like before I got into college, you know, because that just spurs, I mean, our ability as Black people to be able to tell our own stories through our own lens. And I just love TV because, you know, you get to hear and you're seeing everything, and, you know, you get to tell stories through those emotions and things like that. So I think that that's, you know, really a great initiative that you all are, you know, embarking on. So.
Thank you. And that you just spoke to something that is like core, foundational to the Hustlers Guild, and that is reclaiming ownership of culture, right? Because we are culture. We produce culture. We are the trend. We are the wave.
The trendsetters,
yes. What, you know, what everybody else follows. But the reality is we don't necessarily make money off of that culture, right?
Right.
Certain decisions are made as a consequence of our culture that we don't have involvement in. And so the idea is with how we structure is to build pipeline, right, to the opportunities to produce culture, right, and to own culture, and to profit off of culture responsibly and in a way that's unapologetically Black.
Kevin, this has been such a great conversation. How can people learn more about Hustlers Guild, and are there any social media channels that you want to plug?
Yep, you can follow us on all social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Hustlers Guild.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. I think this was a great conversation.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.